Hello, you're listening to Dead End Road TV. This is the Dead End Road Show. I'm Bill. Joining me as always is Roger.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to another episode. If you thought we didn't plan before, boy, are you in for a surprise, because we planned absolutely nothing for you this time around. But who cares? Honestly,
It's 2020. Just chill, guys.
it's 2020. It's December somehow.
Nothing anyone planned this year worked out.
No, especially me. I had a lot of plans. I had hopes and dreams. I'm just like Squidward, basically, is what, the whole point of this is, that scene where he goes to the grave where he buried his hopes and dreams.
Oh, at first I thought you were talking about the episode where he thought the place was perfect for him, but then he realized, wait, this is actually kind of boring because it's very, very repetitive.
Oh, no, that happened to me like 3 times in my life, but no, I'm talking about where he goes to mourn his hopes and dreams at the headstone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because like every day it just sort of feels like this weird time warp of
nothingness.
Sure, yeah.
Or
just
something.
the abject nihilism of it. But like I woke up and I like transported from March all the way to whatever the present day currently is. And like everything that happened in between just like was this weird vacuum that constricted and expanded, and like maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. And it's just sort of like this free flowing whatever. Because like I think summer happened.
It's like it happened, but it went by. It's like it's nothing. Apparently, TikTok, like what I do with it with my free time, of like just being extremely bored with the year, because like you said, everything that was planned did not happen because 2020 is just that year. Even though everyone like speculated 2020 was going to be amazing, it was like, no, I'm going to be the complete opposite. Well, like I guess because the winter solstice is coming upon us, the 21st,
right?
Where some of the planets align, and it's so funny. It's like I love TikTok because you get all these conspiracy people and all that type of stuff, and it was like, and some of them were just kids, which is hilarious. I love seeing kids have conspiracies, and I guess I don't want to be that person like, oh, kids don't know nothing, because you never know, kid might be right, and then you're like, oh crap, it did happen. It's just the funniness. He was like, well, you know how the pandemic, the second wave's all coming. I'm like, yeah. And the person was like, they're just trying to make sure we're not outside on the 21st because that's when our third eye opens because of the winter solstice. I'm like, what? And I guess the government's trying to make sure we don't see what's going on the 21st, so they're going to make sure we're all inside.
Because they've been doing such a stupendous job of keeping everybody inside this whole time.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, were people inside the whole... Surprisingly, the one day where I did not expect people to be inside, people were actually inside. Black Friday.
Yeah.
That was the one day everyone stood there going, you know what? We're just going to be hypocrites and we're just going to stay inside this day. But every other day we're going outside. I'm like, the one day where they kind of want you outside, you're not outside.
Yeah.
I didn't mind because it was very quiet and empty outside on that day while I was working. So I enjoyed it, but it was just hilarious. The one day you expect people not to be inside, people were inside.
Yeah. I think part of it was like all the retailers like, yeah, we're not going to sell the consoles in stores. You got to get them online only. That was like kind of part of it. So like nobody was camping out for that shit. And mostly because I think there weren't enough consoles to go around anyway. Just like looking at that fiasco, I got so friggin' lucky with that.
Yeah, I don't know how you got it, man.
So what happened was that I was up late one night, which I usually don't do because I'm the oldest man that ever lived. I'm actually 206 years old. I don't know how I walk around. I was up late, and I was just scrolling through Twitter because I hate myself, and this was like not long after the PS5 was like officially unveiled, like all the pricing and everything, and somebody had tweeted that like, oh, it's about to the pre-orders. This is the first wave of pre-orders. Oh, it's about to go live on Amazon, and I was like, oh, let me just see if I can get one. You know, it's like this was before like I was even sure if I actually completely wanted it, or if I was gonna wait, you know, until sometime next year to even get it. Um, and sure enough, I was able to pre-order it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, ah, maybe I won't keep it. Maybe I'll cancel it. And then after like all the horror stories about people
Mm-hmm.
like not being able to get pre-orders from like all the different retailers and like how much of a clusterfuck it was, I was just like, I should probably keep this damn thing, you know. And so I just ended up doing like keeping it.
Just right.
And so yeah, I turned out to be like really really lucky. Just the fact that I
Uh huh.
happened to just snag one, like not even actually looking for it.
That's what that's what led you to get it because you were chilling about it, where everyone else was like losing their minds about it. They were too insane about it. That's what caused them not to get it. Where you're just like, you know what? I decide I will take this, but you weren't stressing. Uh huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if I didn't get it, it's like, you know,
Yeah, I saw people were like losing their minds over it, and it's like I guess I'm like, but I'm always one of those people. I'm like, I'm okay. I'll wait till it's like fixed up and everything, because I just don't trust new consoles when they first come out. Just from past experiences of having them dud out on me and everything. You know what I mean?
yeah, I've had no problem. I did get scared though. The first day, I did have a crash whenever I tried
Mm-hmm.
to, because I was testing out different games and stuff. I put in Horizon Zero Dawn, like the disc version I have, and it was like installing, and then the console just crashed. Like it froze completely. Um, and then it was like it wouldn't turn back on, and I was like, did this just break on the first day?
Oh, I would have
I
lost
was
it.
like, are you kidding me? But then it came back, and then it just had like an error screen or whatever, and then it was fine. And then I haven't had a single problem since, and that was the very first day. Like I even tempted fate, and I tried Horizon again, and yeah, it was fine, and it played fine. And, but yeah, I haven't had a single problem
That's good at
since.
least.
Yeah. Um,
Did you hear? Do you plan on getting Cyberpunk?
no, not currently.
Yeah, I'm like neither am I, but it's just like I'm just loving all the penis memes going on apparently
y-
because you can customize your private parts.
yeah, the game looks busted as shit. So,
That's what I keep hearing though too. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of problems with it already.
yeah, originally before release, I was going to, well, one, I was going to wait for reviews, and two, I was going to wait until they released the PS5 patch for it. Um,
Mm.
and so now seeing that, it's a buggy shit show, um, I'm definitely in
You're
no
like
rush to play
you're
it.
gonna wait.
Yeah. Um, because I could play it on PC or whatever too. It's just like no, no, I'm in no rush. And then the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing with the epilepsy fiasco. Um,
Yeah, it's just like a game that just flashes like crazy amounts of
no,
lights.
no, that
Apparently,
would be one thing.
no.
So there's a sequence in the game where, um, I don't know the like story reason or whatever, but like I don't know if you're getting an like some kind of cybernetic implant or whatever the actual specifics of the game are, like and during this sequence. But there's a sequence
Uh
that
huh.
mimics a diagnostic test that doctors will use in real life that
Yeah.
induces seizures on purpose for diagnostic purposes.
Oh,
And that's
really?
just in the game, like it's full screen, just like at the player.
Mm-hmm.
And so one person did have a seizure because of it, because they're epileptic, and
Mm-hmm.
there was no like general warning like in the game that might like Nintendo was always famous for it about like seizure warnings.
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't there like I swear I've seen games with warnings saying like, "Yo, be careful, possible seizure."
Yeah, lots of them do. Cyberpunk doesn't. It has it in its terms of service, but who the hell actually reads the terms of service?
No
Um,
one.
so today I saw that they patched into the PC version. They have an official epilepsy warning, and they're looking into removing or adjusting that sequence. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's just like yeah, there's too much crap going on with that
There's
game.
still things they need to work. It's because everyone kept rushing them, even though they kept pushing them. I understand, like, we God's promised us. It's like, yeah, because we're trying to make sure we give you the perfect game.
Yeah, and the whole thing with them crunching and like making everybody work like 90-hour work weeks, it's just like
Mm-hmm.
the whole game is like a shit show, and so I don't feel comfortable buying it, especially not right now.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I think people like of like the gaming industry or people who just play game don't understand what goes into making
no,
games.
not at all. They pretend like they do. Um,
Like like there was this guy I was talking to, and don't get me wrong, he's a complete moron, like because he's like one of those people. No, no sorry, it's just
no,
because
no, no, yeah,
he's like one of those classist people who don't believe workers deserve more pay, even if their companies are freaking making billions of dollars off the exploitation of their workers and all that type of
yeah,
stuff. And he was like, I don't think video game creators deserve much pay and all that type of stuff. I'm like, do you know what goes into making those games? I'm like, do you know how much they're overworked and like they get the scraps of like what like he was like, oh, I don't think games should cost as much as they do. I'm like, that game you're holding in your hand has a literal freaking world in it that took a long time to make, and you don't understand what goes into making that. And this is someone who also doesn't understand who goes into making it, but I've seen people and I know people who are in the industry and they tell me how much they're overworked.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I have a friend. She does all like the artists and like the work in it, like making like the world, like drawing the backgrounds, all that type
Hmm.
of stuff. I'm like, and I see the stress it causes her. I'm like, I couldn't imagine doing that. And it's like people say they don't deserve what they get, and I'm like, they deserve more than what they're actually getting.
Yeah, yeah. In
And,
almost all cases, like they don't get royalties on like game sales. You know,
mm-hmm,
um, it's rough. Like there's so much burnout, just like in general, where people will leave the industry altogether. Um,
mm-hmm,
yeah, and like in terms of pricing, like the price of games has stagnated. Meanwhile, the cost of games has risen. Like the cost of making games has risen like
mm-hmm.
substantially. Um, that's why like you'll see like PS5 games are now like at least the first party ones so far are like $70. Um,
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like I don't want to spend $70 either, but I get it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But I'm also patient for games where people are like trying to, why isn't this out yet? It's like because they're working on it, and it's like if you don't want bugs, it's gonna take time.
right.
It's like I'm one of those people like because I'm a big Pokemon fan. Like I love all the Pokemon games where even the old ones are still like the same. They're the same price they came out as. They don't cheapen or
Hmm.
anything, and I'm okay with that. I'm like, it took them a long time, and it was hard to build this game, so I get why they're the price they are. Don't get me wrong, I low key despise like certain games that certain companies that sell unfinished games and then they make the DLCs like crazy expensive.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I loved how Nintendo handled Pokemon because it was like this. So like the initial game was $60. All right, I'm cool with that. But then it had DLC, and it was like, okay, the DLC I'm pretty sure was like 15-20 bucks. But if you bought the first one, you automatically got the second one. Where I feel like they handled DLC properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where other where other gaming companies like, no, we're just gonna keep sell them all separately for $20 each, and it won't really be that much. Where like Pokemon's DLC, it gave you two whole new islands, with 2 whole new side stories, and it technically came around to $10 per side story, which was dope.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like they handled the DLC like problem properly. Where some companies do, I'll admit they do like kind of rip the gamer off. You know what I
Mm-hmm. Oh
mean?
yeah. Yeah, it's like it's tough because that's what got CD Projekt to develop Cyberpunk such like this weird cult of personality around them was with The Witcher
Mm-hmm.
and other games. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they were upfront about treating the player with respect. Like the only DLC was
Mm-hmm.
2 gigantic expansions for The Witcher 3. Or maybe there was 3 of them. But
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. Like, no cosmetic shit,
Mm-hmm.
The game was fine at launch. It was kind of buggy, but they kept updating it. Like the UI from like whenever the game first came out to like what it ended up with is like completely different. But
Mm-hmm.
like so they garnered like this whole fan base of like, oh yeah, like they're like one of the last real developers. Like they respect gamers and blah 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 blah. Um, and so it's like so you almost want to support that mentality of like we're not
Mm-hmm.
going to put all this bullshit in our games. Like you buy a game, it's supposed to be like this finished product, blah blah blah. But then like
Mm-hmm.
Cyberpunk comes out, like after this long wait, it just kept
Mm-hmm.
like delay after delay after delay after delay, and so then people kind of feel like they're
Mm-hmm.
yanking their chain a little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
then there was the stuff with there was like some like weird transphobic posters in the game. Um, yeah,
Really?
and then like they had whoever was running their Twitter account made some really weird tweets in like a similar vein to that. Um, so that was
Mm-hmm.
weird and left a bad taste. Um, then a
Mm-hmm.
couple years ago, they swore that they were not going to make their devs crunch at all. So they were not going to have forced overtime whatsoever. Um, then it turns out they've been crunching for at least a year now, if not longer. So that was just a straight up lie. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then the CEO said that the crunch wasn't that bad. Meanwhile, it was people working 80+ hour work weeks. Um, and then the
Mm-hmm.
game comes out and it looks like a complete mess. And it's not finished even after people, probably work
Mm-hmm.
themselves to complete and utter exhaustion. Um, and then like if you have anybody like criticize the game for it being a mess, there are just these rabid hordes of fanboys sticking up for it for a game that they haven't actually played yet because it just came out today. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like it just leaves a bad taste. It just reminds me of like it's like the Rick and Morty of games. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Where it just like developed this it was something like CD Projekt was like sort of like this cool thing, Um, but then
Mm-hmm.
these weird nerd bros like took it as theirs,
Yeah.
and now you don't want to be associated with it anymore.
Dude, I'll admit, weird nerd bros freaking ruin a lot of fan bases. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, because I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, but dude, I do not like the community sometimes. They're a bunch of weirdos. Dude, you don't understand. They're so toxic. And it's just like, why are you making something that's supposed to be chill and like enjoyable and you're just ruining it?
Yeah.
Like, it's just annoying. But like you said, Rick and Morty, yeah, Rick and Morty has like some of the worst fans, and then,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like the same thing. Like I
But
want nothing like I loved the first 2 seasons of that show and like I want nothing to do with it anymore. I want absolutely nothing to do with it.
mm-hmm.
And it's mostly because of the fans, and just like the
Mm-hmm.
weird cult of personality it developed. Uh
Mm-hmm.
it just got too much. Like it started with the whole Szechuan thing and then it like went from there and it was just like ew. Like
They just became toxic.
yeah, and like I
And I
felt
feel
like
like
gross, like just like just saying
it's
you'd
funny
like
because
the show.
I feel like the creator doesn't even like his fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like he finds them high key annoying,
Yeah. And that's why I
and it's
think he's
because
just
of the
like turning
toxic
it into
ones.
like it seems like he's just
A
turning
joke.
Rick and Morty into like this commercial like vehicle.
Yeah, yeah, because I saw like the whole Wrangler thing.
Yeah, they're like always selling chips, and I think they were like doing a PlayStation ad.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Like you're right. I do see ads everywhere with Rick and Morty. I'm like, ah, this is annoying. And now when I see the ad, I just like continuously scroll. Like, no, I don't want to hear
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. It's like repellent. It's like it's unbelievable.
Goddamn fans. It's like,
It's amazing. It really is.
is there like anything in pop culture, or anything that has like wholesome fans who aren't toxic in some way?
Oh, I'm sure. I don't know, cause like I don't really engage with like fandoms too much.
I don't either. It's like I'll join groups and stuff just to see, but I don't engage with the people within them.
What are you
You
talking
know what
about?
I
You run
mean?
a Dragon Ball Z.
That's
Me-
different. No, I run my page, but I do not completely communicate with everyone. I let them do their own thing. I just make the content and let them handle themselves.
That's fair.
Because there's times like there are times where I will communicate, but that's normally if I know the people communicating. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. That's fair.
Or if I observe them long enough, where I'm like, okay, you're not a huge weirdo. I guess I could be your friend. Because like I'll get friend requests, and it's just like I'll look at them, I'll creep on their pages and stuff. I'm like, no, you're kind of weird, or you're too much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But they're the occasional few. I'm like, okay, you're cool people, and I'm like, all right, I'll give you a chance.
yeah.
It's because like people are just they do too much, or they're too argumentative. You know what I mean? They just want to argue, and I'm like, yeah, that's not what I'm here
Right.
for.
Yeah. Like who has time for that shit?
Or they'll have their own theories, and it's like, or they'll lie to try and back their point. I'm like, bro, that was never said.
Yeah, it's like the stuff that I care about. Like I
Uh-huh.
would rather much like I would rather engage with the thing itself rather than
Mm-hmm.
the fans of it. And like and if people want
Mm-hmm.
to find like a community of like people that like the same shit they do, that's great. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get anything out of it personally.
Mm-hmm.
Um like I get annoyed really easily as you know, as this podcast will clearly show
Mm-hmm.
every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever I was going off against like Persona fans, you know, um,
Mm-hmm.
they annoy me incredibly quickly. Um, and but I love that. Like that's my favorite shit. Um,
No, I get it. I truly get it, dude. Because like, it sucks when you do see someone like making a complete fool of themselves on something you love, and you'll start the typing. I'm like I kid you not. I do this all the time. I'll start typing, and I'm like, no, no, stop, Raj.
yes,
Don't
it's
do
not
it.
worth
They're
it.
like
It's not worth
they're
it.
just delete it.
Yep.
Delete it. They're not worth your words. And I'll delete it, and I'll just keep going. I'll like screw. I'm just gonna scroll by.
Yep.
I'm like they're not worth my attention.
No. Yeah.
Dang fans, dang fans of like just pop culture stuff, and games and movies and shows.
Yeah. It really it can really change like somebody's opinion of something before they've like even seen it. Like what's the comedy everybody likes? Uh oh like the Schitt's Creek. Like everybody watches that show now, right? Um
What's it about?
it's like a rich family and then they lose their money and so then they have to go to like a town that they own or something. And so
Mm-hmm.
like they get it like their comeuppance because they were rich and now they gotta be poor, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Um but anyway, like all on Twitter, all you see is like reaction gifs from the show, and it's like I you're like so inundated with it that I have no interest in watching the show because like I feel like I'm just like bombarded with it. Um,
Wait, hold on. I get your point because it's like, all right, so this is like, from my experience of going to conventions, it's always enjoyable because you'll meet the cool fans of like
hmm
shows and all that type of stuff. But then you also see the ones who make you not want to watch shows because they're doing too much.
yeah,
And it's just like, and it's hard for you to get an opinion on the show because you already just seen how their fans are. Like, because I've heard it because like show for example, I'm a fan of Steven Universe,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not in any of the groups or anything, or like any pages. I just enjoy watching the show just for myself. It's an enjoyable cartoon,
Mm-hmm.
but I always hear the most toxic and crazy crap about its fan base, and I'm like, dang, maybe it's a good thing I stay away from other fans
Right. Yeah.
because all I hear is just crazy nonsense about it.
Yeah. Another example is like The Office was my favorite show whenever it was airing. Like I watched it every week. You know, I had the DVDs. I would watch the commentary tracks. I knew like all kinds of little bits of trivia. And then after it stopped airing, it blew up on Netflix, and like everybody became obsessed with it, and like there was like this weird Office renaissance, and it just like completely put me off of rewatching the show ever again. Whenever
The funny thing
whenever I
is,
would.
it made me not want to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like
I've never watched it, and it's like because of the fans are too much. I'm like, all right, I'm not watching.
yeah,
this show.
it became like a pseudo personality trait to say that you like The Office. It's like that's not a hobby. Like watching The Office isn't a personality trait. And it was just like, oh God, like you ruined a thing I liked whenever I was in high school. Yeah, it's amazing the effect that fans can have.
I think the problem is people get like, and it's not a bad thing. It's just like you have to have your limits. People get too much emotionally involved with these like things that they enjoy that make them happy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like where when it starts becoming a negative, like when you start becoming negative, maybe it's like, okay, maybe I should tone it down a bit
Yeah.
because this was supposed to be something that gives me serotonin,
Right.
something that makes me happy, something that might make me like more approachable to other people because we have this connection. But people don't do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just take it too far. I always enjoyed seeing like people, like fans, arguing with creators or saying that the creator's wrong or stupid for what they did. I'm like, this is what they made. You can't tell them they're wrong.
Yeah. I can understand criticism, but then like
Mhm.
yeah, like whenever fans feel like that they've been like victimized by the like how like the outcome of a show, I guess. Like even whenever it's
I
not,
get that.
even whenever it's like hasn't I should be careful here because there have been like instances of like where cuz I watched a video essay about like the supernatural ending, like that whole thing.
I seen people hating it
Yeah,
or being confused. I'll admit, I'm a Supernatural fan.
I tried to watch
I'm,
because like that was back whenever I was on like Tumblr in like 2014 or whatever, and so that was like the big thing, and so I was like, oh, you know, a lot of people are into this, maybe I'll give it a shot, and so like I tried to watch the first like season maybe, and it wasn't for me, but
I'm just I like supernatural stuff, you know what I
sure,
mean?
yeah.
Funny because the show's supernatural. But your sister gives me hell every time she sees me watching. She's like, get out the room because I know she hates it.
Yeah, well, like,
but like I enjoy the show, but like you said, I've been seeing a lot of people did not like what happened, like the last couple episodes. But then I also heard like weird rumors about like one of the actors being weird about it too because he's not like for that or whatever.
right,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
So it's like, I don't think that some fans I do feel get really entitled that they should have a say in how like a work like evolves or gets made, and that they like have a hand in the direction of it. And so whenever whenever something they want to happen happens, they might feel like they were the ones that sort of caused it to
Made it happen.
happen rather than it just, maybe they did have an impact. Maybe that their feedback did have some sort of influence on what the creators did. Responding to how audiences receive their work, that's a totally valid thing that could happen.
Sonic.
Yeah,
Get bullied by the internet long enough, you'll change.
but like,
But I heard that was for the greater good.
yeah, yeah, oof. But like, it's tough because people were so invested, I guess, like in the supernatural example, like they were so invested in two of the characters having a relationship. That was like the big thing. And so whenever they ended up not having that relationship, it was, like the end of the world. And so that brings into, question issues of representation and, all that other kinds of things. So, but like, if that wasn't the story that they wanted to tell,
why put it in there?
Yeah, I don't feel like anybody has an obligation to tell it.
Yeah, I didn't. I know the scene you're talking about, and I'm like indifferent about it. It doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
But I completely understand, because sometimes representation, it's like people want the representation, but it's like, at least put it in the story correctly.
Right.
Don't just like completely blindside or just throw it in there. Just, oh, there it goes. It's like, no, make it make sense.
Right. And so, so I watched this video. I'm blanking on who made it. Whenever I do the edit, I'll put it in the the description of the episode. But she was talking about how, like, throughout the whole run of the series, there were instances where it felt like the creators were hinting at this relationship, or at least maybe not making jokes, but like, yeah, I guess there were jokes about the two characters being together. So whether that's like toying with, like, the LGBT audience, or yeah, so I guess people did feel like they needed, I don't know.
Okay, I know what you're talking about, because there's like in the show there was always just jokes about the brothers being together, and then also like Dean and Castiel, because those are the two. Like, I guess at the end, like, Castiel tells Dean he loves him.
I think that's the big to-do. Yeah.
That's the big that's the whole situation. So okay, I get that. You know what I mean? So I see where they threw it in for that, because it was like you're right, there were jokes about it, and then like they made jokes about it in the show about like how fans are like, why are they trying to put us together? Like the main characters would say that.
Yeah. I just think it's trickier. Like if it was a potential straight couple, it would just be easy to say, it's like, well, why would they be under any obligation to put the two characters together? You know? But since there's such like a lack of, gay main characters on television, that it feels like, maybe they did have, this sort of
love between each other.
Well, no, I mean, like, the creators, maybe they did have sort of a responsibility to I don't know, like, follow through on that, especially if they actually hinted at it. Or if this was just like, if this was actually the case of what was the other show? Well, I don't know. You could pick a show that has two male leads, and some people will, think that they're going to end up together when they probably aren't. But if the show is like actively dropping hints at it,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like yeah, I don't know.
My only thing with the whole Castiel Dean thing is like they never seemed like they were in love with each other. They all, but maybe I just looked at and interpreted wrong, where it just seemed like they were more like brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Like you knew they loved each other and all that type of stuff.
See, so that's interesting.
But it's like it never came out as like a romantic partnership because Dean during the series is a horn dog. He loves women. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that was interesting. So that was
But
the other thing I remembered from this essay was that one of the actors, I don't remember which because I don't know the show that well. One of the three main actors was like, yeah, the Castiel is like the third brother. He's one of us. So like that's how they viewed the characters, was like they were these three brothers, and that was the kind of um like that's how they played their relationship, I guess.
but you know what? I can also accept like where okay, so it's like I interpret it as them just being brothers and all that type of stuff. But I also understand like just the people's emotions or just people's experiences where it's like, oh, this person seems like they just love him as a brother, but maybe they kept their because I feel like in the series, like whenever he does open up to Dean's character, Castiel opens up to Dean. It's like people do hold their emotions, like where it's like, oh, you only seen me as a brother, but I seen you as more than just a brother.
Right.
Because I've had friends like just like people who come out to others. Like I've had a friend like where he had feelings for our other friend where our friend just thought he was just friends. She's like, no, he just has those feelings for you.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, it is like I guess not a weird, but like a touchy kind of. You gotta try and look at other people's perspectives on life and like just views or feelings and emotions.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
using the right
Absolutely have to
words.
do.
You know
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
yeah. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying. I'm trying to be like as delicate as I can as a very straight
Mm-hmm.
person with with
Yeah.
with regards to this whole thing. So it's like
Mm-hmm. Oh
because
no,
I'm trying to
I completely
yeah,
get
because I'm
it.
trying to think of it like from like as a non fan of the show, and like also as like a like looking at it from a creator.
Heterosexual
Well,
male.
yeah, but and then also
Yeah.
from like a creator's point of view, like
Uh huh.
um if that wasn't the intention of the characters, then like the fans aren't directing the show, like, and they're not like charting the direction of the show either. Um, and so if you're just this is true for like anything, like any long running series, not even just this one specifically. If you give them exactly everything that they want, then like like it's kind of like what's the point of like tuning in if you know that you're gonna like all your dreams are gonna come true, like you know
Yep.
what I mean?
You're
It's like
absolutely right.
what is the like why pay attention to the narrative if you are it just feels it'll like ring hollow if you're like
Mm-hmm. You know what? This makes me give props to a show we literally just shit talked about 10, 15 minutes ago. Rick and Morty, where the creator talked about, was like, no, everyone like kind of wants me to just have the story go this way. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. And I kind of love that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where fans expect the story, like, as a certain episode went, they're like, oh, whatever. Are we going to get a resolution to this? And he's like, no.
yeah.
And like I remember there was an episode like where he kind of made fun of it. And I was like, "Oh, this is all this craziness," and then it was just like a joke episode.
Yeah, like wouldn't
It's like
you rather
people
be
expect too much
surprised by
sometimes.
your favorite show,
Mm-hmm.
like for something to happen, rather than like just going down a checklist of what you want to see happen, like all the relationships to
Mm-hmm.
be fulfilled. Like this is a big problem I have with a lot of comedies.
Mm-hmm.
It's that like especially whenever like relationships are introduced, it's like okay, fine, so like they're gonna end up together. We know how this is gonna play out, and it's just like
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually the show evolves to a point where it's like, okay, fine, now everybody's got to like get together with somebody. And
Mm-hmm.
so then like I mentioned The Office. Like The Office had how many wedding episodes? It had
Mm-hmm.
at least 3. You know? So no,
Mm-hmm.
4. It had 4 different weddings.
4. So it got overplayed.
Yeah, it's just like in one office there's like 4 different weddings, 4 different couples that ended up to get, it's just like
Yeah.
um and maybe I'm just a loveless grouch. Maybe that's what this means. But it's just
Uh-huh.
like,
You're like, I'm tired of these wedding
yeah,
episodes.
so like if you just go down a list and you're like, I want to see this person end up with this one and this one end up with this one, it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. Maybe I lost the point. But like
You're all good,
it
dude.
just yeah, it's just if you're not surprised by, what you're watching, or like if you know everything and it's doing exactly everything that you want it to do, then it just kind of feels pointless.
No, I get completely what you're saying and all that type of stuff where fans expect them just to get exactly what they want and they're upset if they don't, but you're not the creator of this. Let them have free reign of what they want to do.
Yeah. It's just in this specific example that we've been talking about, it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's weighted because it would be a gay couple, and so then
Mm-hmm.
like they did a bury your gays trope. They killed off the gay person. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
so it's
Oh, did they?
that's what it seemed like. Yeah, like
Uh-huh.
um so it's a lot trickier there.
Mm-hmm.
Um
And you know the funny thing is, people will like, because you'll get the fans who are like, "Oh, why do we have to have this in the show?" It's like people don't understand why representation matters. Like they'll be like, or they don't understand whenever like something they love gets changed to a different character of like of different like sexual
mhm
orientation or race, and it's because like back in the day when it first came out, all you got was the same type of people in every role.
mhm
That's why things are changing now to include other people. Then it also, guess what? It adds a unique dynamic to your stories because these people aren't all the same.
right.
Because they come from different backgrounds, they have different problems. And that's why I think representation matters. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because it adds new complications to your stories.
Yep. 100%. We speaking of The Witcher, like Yennefer in the games was as white could be, and then in the Netflix series,
Mm-hmm.
she's a person of color. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and is Triss also in this show? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. That's on my like to watch list.
I think Triss might also be. I can't remember. It's been long enough. But yeah. Um, the show was fantastic. But of course, then you get
Mm-hmm.
the trolly neckbeards that the Yennefer doesn't look like the one from the game, so they have to
Mm-hmm.
throw a hissy fit. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
ugh. Meanwhile, I don't know the actress's name because it's been over a year since I saw the show. But
Mm-hmm.
like, uh, she was
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal as Yennefer. She was like the standout of that whole show,
Mm-hmm.
by far. Um,
That's like everyone with the newer Spider-Man, everyone hates that Mary Jane is black.
it's like, yeah, what?
I'm not gonna. I love Zendaya's Mary Jane. She brings like a different type of Mary. She doesn't seem off like the trope of being a damsel in distress.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like she's kind of a smart ass. She does her own thing. Like she likes Peter, obviously, but she's not like the typical I'm just the hero's girlfriend who's always gonna just need saved every couple episodes to keep it spicy and make my character seem
Right.
interesting. I don't know. People just like to complain. Don't get me wrong. Like, and there's times like where I'm not to make it sound like I don't complain. There are times where I'm like, dang, that kind of but I'll give it a chance. Like I love the fans who are like, you know what, let's boycott it and show them that our voice matters. Like no, just shut up and just watch it and see if you enjoy it. And if you don't watch it again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy. But yeah, so what was the deal with the new Spider-Man?
Um, I know within the coming one, I don't know for a fact, but I'm almost like 99.9% positive that this is going to be like the multiverse or Spider Verse one coming out, especially since the one with Miles Morales did amazing. Like
Yeah.
it was one of the best Spider-Man movies. Like everyone said, like it was just great. The idea is great. So apparently they brought back the actor who played Doctor Octopus. They're bringing back Jamie Foxx. They brought
Oh, they're bringing back Jamie
both
Foxx.
Andrew.
Oh no.
I know. Here's my thing. I thought he looked cool.
He looked cool, but
He looked cool.
That performance was rough.
This is why they're bringing him back.
The redemption.
Yes, redemption,
Yeah.
and then Sinister Six, which I'm geeked about because they were supposed to do that with Andrew Garfield before they're like, you know what, the second one was terrible. We're just rebooting you again.
That second one was rough.
Yeah, it was, but they were gonna. I felt like even if it did do well, they were gonna reboot it because they wanted to do the whole Marvel deal and all that crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like they had to reboot either way, and it's like I have a feeling like they're just about to set up the Sinister Six. That's why they're bringing back those older actors, and then it's like, how do you have Spider-Man beat 6 of his villains? The other Spider-Man, and that's how it's gonna go down. And that's why they're bringing back Doctor Octopus for Tobey Maguire, and then Jamie Foxx for Andrew Garfield. And it's just like I'm excited because they're also apparently bringing back Charlie Cox as Daredevil, like they're reprising his role. I hope they don't destroy his universe that Netflix built because Netflix out of all the series, Daredevil was amazing.
In the big universe, right?
Yes and no.
Well, I mean,
it's
like
weird
it took place there, but like nothing ever interacted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's yes and no. It's like it's apparently it's not a part of it, but it's also a part of it because it's Netflix.
They would drop hints about the first Avengers movie. Like it's like, oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah, because I remember they brought up like the whole green. Like I think in one of the Jessica Jones episodes, she brought up like the Hulk and like other heroes and all that type of stuff. It's like it's weird how companies do that, like where they're not a part of it, but they're a part of it. But I'm like really hoping that they do not reboot Daredevil because it was amazing. It was literally, honestly, it's probably it's probably my favorite superhero like series of all time. Like with real people, like where it just the story is great, the characters are great, and it would be nice if they continued.
What the hell was the name of his friend? Foggy.
Mm-hmm. I like his character too. William Fisk was the greatest villain. I think he was the greatest Marvel villain of all time. No one comes close.
That guy, his friend was from the Mighty Ducks, right?
I think so. And then, did you ever watch Law and Order CI when you were younger?
No, but I had to download it from my dad.
It's the guy, most people don't know. He was annoying. It's funny. My dad hated him when I was younger, like, because he's like, he knows everything. It's like, that's what his character was in, like, freaking
Fulton
Law
Reed,
and Order.
that's right.
He knew everything that happened, and it annoyed people. What's his name? Vincent D'Onofrio. I'm probably mispronouncing his last name.
D'Onofrio?
But, yeah, he was amazing. Like, amazing as William Fisk. There was, like, I don't think I've watched anything superhero-wise. Like, no one played a villain as good as him. There's no villains that are on par with him. Like, his character was always entertaining whenever you saw him. And he was a real threat in the series. Like, even when he was locked up, he was still a threat. He controlled the gym. I mean, the jail he was in. Got rid of his rivals. Was still messing with the superhero in his own way. It was just great.
Foggy was also in the Hunger Games?
Was he?
Yeah. I mean, he'll always be Fulton Reed to me.
Really?
Yeah, Mighty Ducks, man. He was a Bash brother.
I haven't seen that in forever.
The Knuckle Puck.
Mm-hmm.
Man. I'm so old.
Don't even remind me, man. It's depressing. I already have my bones reminding me that I'm old.
I know the bones in my hands started making this squishy noise. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what.
The worst is whenever a body part goes numb and you're just like, damn.
Yeah, like I don't know what.
Or you feel a random pain in your stomach or rib, and you're like, is this it? Am I finally biting into dust?
Yep. Yeah, but I don't know what this squishiness is. It's weird. I'm turning to Jello.
Right?
It's like reverse Wolverine.
Is that what becoming an adult is? I was telling someone, they're like, dang man, it's like, why is things just not fun anymore? I'm like, because we're becoming adults. I'm like, we are legit adults. Nothing entertains us anymore. We're not happy with things anymore because we're adults.
Crawling towards 30.
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
Dude, right? I'm like, dude, I forgot how old I was one day. I seriously forgot.
I forget constantly. I thought that 1994 was 16 years ago.
Dude, I was telling someone I was the wrong age the one day, and I realized I was like, wait a second. Then I got home, and then I was like, no, you're not that old. I'm like, you're actually older than that. I'm like, whoa, no. And I'm like, wait, let me do the math in my head. I'm like, shit, they're right.
One time I had to give my dad's birthday, and I said his year was 1996.
How did he feel?
He wasn't there, but it was just like,
oh,
I was like, wait a minute, that wouldn't make any sense.
Like, I had to tell my little sister. She's I believe she's in eighth. Yeah, she's in eighth grade. I was like, enjoy this while you can, because it is not fun when you are older. Yeah, you get more. You can do a little bit more, but it's not that great. You have a lot more responsibilities. You don't talk to as much people as you did. It's just not as fun.
And your bones get squishy.
Yeah, and your body just hates you after that. And it sucks because this pandemic's not helping anything. That's what's making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Only if we were all rich. Maybe life would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
I love seeing the posts, like, and don't get me wrong, I know rich people have their own problems and all that type of stuff, but it's just like, yeah, money would help with a lot of these problems other people are dealing with.
Yeah, it would. It would help some of my problems, I'd tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Right. You know, I want to go on my yacht. I'm going to go on my yacht that's in front of my house, and I think I'll be good.
Just sort of wait this whole thing out.
Mm-hmm. It just sucks because like it's not going anywhere, and then all you see is people complaining and like bitching about the vaccine. You know what I hope? I hope the vaccine gets fucking superpowers, and they stop giving it to people. Like, well, nope, you didn't want the vaccine. Now you're one of the millions of people who don't have superpowers, and then there's me with like the powers of Superman. Like I told you guys.
Did you watch the Boys?
Yeah, I love the boys. I love the boys.
Isn't that basically what happens?
Yeah, basically, there's like they start giving people powers and crap. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna give people powers, and then they're gonna miss out because they're too. I don't want the vaccine. You go first. I'm like, all right, man. I'm gonna be cured of COVID and have superpowers.
I want to turn into what's it, Mr. Fantastic with these stretchy bones I got going on.
Yeah, right. Did you finish The Boys? Did you watch season 2?
Yeah, I did.
What was your opinion on it?
I thought it was okay.
Mm-hmm. It's nothing like the comic. Nothing like the comic.
That's what I hear.
I'm okay with that.
Um, yeah, I like Aya Cash a whole lot, even though she was a Nazi. But I mean,
Uh
I knew that was coming because her name was Stormfront.
huh. I like her as an actor. She plays being an asshole really
Oh
well.
yeah, she's the best.
I watched this one show called You're the
That's my
Worst.
fucking favorite show,
I
man.
love it. How'd you feel about the ending of that?
Oh, I thought it was perfect.
I Gretchen started annoying me towards the end, but I'm like, that's her character.
Yeah.
I loved I forget what's his friend's name that he treated like shit the whole fucking series
Oh.
until you could get jealous of
Oh
him
shit.
because he had other friends.
Um.
The friend who was like in the army, but then had
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
PTSD.
Oh, I know his face so well. Oh, god damn it.
He was most definitely my favorite character in the whole
Yeah, he
series,
was
though.
great.
But yeah, like her and fucking yeah, her storefront character. I didn't think they were gonna kill her off that fast, but they did.
Yeah, that's true.
But then they had Homefront jacking off everywhere.
I know, right?
It's funny that it was too much for the first season, but then they're like, you know what, we're gonna fucking do it for the second season. Then.
Yeah.
Because like I remember watching stuff like after watching, they were like, yeah, there was a scene where Stormfront jacks off on an Empire State Building or whatever, and they're like that was just too much. But then they do it in the second season. I'm like, I guess it's not too much for the second season. I guess.
Or they were just trying to misdirect.
Mm-hmm. But I'm curious, like, how are they gonna? I guess just stop Homefront in this third season
I have no idea.
because they didn't out him for being a douchebag or being a killer.
It almost feels like people should just know by now.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, by the way he's like his whole attitude. It's like
Uh huh.
coming out at this point.
And then he was dating Stormfront, so it's like maybe keep
Yeah.
an eye on him. I did like the one scene where they kind of gave you a like whenever he killed all the people, but it was just his
I know.
imagination.
I was like, "Oh, did he really do it this time?" Like,
Yeah, but he didn't. I was like,
yeah.
oh, that'd have been a shocker. I like it though. It's a good series. It's what keeping Amazon like Prime alive.
Yeah, I didn't think I would be into it. And the only reason why I even started it up was because of Aya Cash in season 2. I was like, well, I gotta see her.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it would be like more like just like crass toilet humor, like Deadpool, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
No, they went full off the hinges and it was just like violent,
yeah,
gory, like killing and all that type of stuff. So yeah. But that's like I kind of like it because it's like it makes it seem more real
mm-hmm,
than all the other superhero crap we get.
yeah,
It's like, and I understand those the superhero stuff that we get, or it's like it's making it more kid friendly. But it's nice having a superhero series or like people with just powers. Like, how would we know damn well people would be acting crazy if they had powers,
mm-hmm.
doing off the wall things all the time.
And there would be a private company controlling them all.
Yeah, wouldn't be shocked. Amazon, Jeff Bezos.
Yep.
It makes you wonder if you had superpowers, would you come out or like, would you come out if you had superpowers?
Um, maybe it depends on what the power was.
All right, pick a power.
You pick it for me because I don't think you get to choose.
Okay, let's go with teleportation.
Teleportation. Um, Probably not.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I mean, I'd use it, but I just wouldn't. I wouldn't like tell anybody.
Let the world know.
Yeah.
All right, you're Superman. You have the powers of all the powers of Superman.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
It's like weird. Would you like try and get all the governments to calm the hell down? Like, yo, I'm tired of all you guys acting like children. Or would you just back a country? You know what I mean?
With my anarcho conspiracy brain, I wouldn't be.
Uh huh.
I wouldn't be behind the country. But
True. I don't think I couldn't be behind a country. I'd be like, they're like, we just need to take him down. I'm like, yo, I'm the one trying to make everything better.
Yeah.
You're the ones who are selling out, abusing your people.
It might turn into like a Batman v Superman real quick though.
Mm-hmm. Some rich guy with a lot of money coming to take us out.
Yep.
We just don't have the weakness of kryptonite. Even though, I hate Superman. I've never liked Superman growing up. I thought him and Captain America were always boring ass characters to me.
Mm.
And it's like, I like Batman, but I also have a distaste for Batman because of his fans.
Yeah.
And not even all the fans. It's just the prep time. Those are the ones that annoy the shit out of me. They're like, Batman beats everybody if he has prep time. I'm like, what do you mean? It annoys the crap out of me when they say it. You don't understand. Like, that's literally their answer, prep time. I'm like, what the hell does that mean, prep time? It's like, what if the person does not have a weakness and there's nothing that hurts them? How does he beat them with prep time? All it takes to kill Batman is a gun and steady aim.
It's just because they've read too much Batman where he has a file on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Tower of Babel. What else? I don't know. There's too many examples. There's so many comics where Batman.
No, I know what you mean. Show me Batman beating Dr. Manhattan. That's what I want to see.
Didn't that happen? I'm surprised.
Dr. Manhattan will just, oh, you're thinking about killing me, Batman? All right, bye. Boom.
I guess that's true.
And don't get me wrong, I have my own, like, freaking Goku tards where, like, Goku can beat anybody, and I know he can't. But that's just anime. Anime fans are pretty toxic as well.
Tori started making Dragon Ball Z references, and I was like, what? What?
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what is this?
She won't even continue watching the show.
She's like, she talk about Yamcha, and I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm. Wait, what way does she use Yamcha? So I know if she used it correctly.
Somebody was talking about a play dead emote.
Okay, Yamcha. All right, I get it.
I don't.
Because he gets blown up in the DBZ series, and there's like it's an iconic picture of him like in a crater, just dead.
Oh sure, yeah. I don't. All I know is that they're all vegetables.
Yeah, most of them.
That's all I know.
Kira Toriyama like named all the Saiyans are like based off vegetables. Yeah, it's weird. Kira Toriyama. And it's so funny because I'll hear like fans talking about it, and it's like, because like I said, like I'm not obsessed with the series, but I'm just a very good fan of the series, and I know stuff. Like I just know, like I pay attention. Like I'm friends with a couple of the voice actors on Facebook.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like voice actors, like from the dub. Like I've just happened to be friends with them on Facebook and all that type of stuff. But it's like people will bitch like Akira Toriyama doesn't know what he's doing, especially with this current manga that's been going on. I'm like, you guys, that's not even him, right? I'm like, you're bitching about him, but it's not even him making it. That's a completely different person. And then they'll also complain. It's like, sometimes it's not even, they don't have free reign over their own series because sometimes it's Funimation or whoever, the company that they're working with decides what's going on. Like, a lot of people didn't know, like in Cell Saga, there's a part where the main villains he had were Android 19 and 20. And he was going to just cut it. Then he was like, no, we want someone better. Like, the company was like, no, we want someone cooler. Then he made the other androids. They're like, nope, that doesn't work either. Then he made Cell. And they're like, nope, we don't like that form. He made it. Then he had to keep making forms until eventually, like, pretty sure it's Funimation. He was like, okay, this is cool. The more you know.
Did you see that Sony bought Crunchyroll?
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but we will find out.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was cool the way it already was. I'm like, all right. But Monopoly.
There was that brief period where Crunchyroll and Funimation, you can get them in the same subscription.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess ideally it would go back to that, but
I mean, I already have both of them, so it is what it is.
yeah.
I just don't like that it's a monopoly now. Sony's just buying all things.
Yep. I mean, that's just how all media goes now. It sucks.
All right.
But
you want to? There's only one thing. You want to know one thing I hate?
Yep. Yes, I do.
I can't find Fuse raspberry tea anywhere. This is. We're not sponsored by them. It'd be great if we were, because I love that tea. But you can't find it anywhere, and it upsets me like so much. And I just had to get it off my chest.
Fuse, clear this up.
Dude, you understand? It's like God's piss. I'm serious, bro. Like, I have not, like, it's like I enjoy like staying hydrated. I love drinking things. You know what I mean?
We stand a hydrated king.
Yeah. I like to stay hydrated. It's like I'll switch between my drink of the week. But the one drink that does not change is Fuse raspberry tea. But you can only get it at Subway. So now I've become that goblin who brings his own jug, who, like, I'll get a large cup from them, and I'll fill it up with raspberry tea, but I'll fill my jug up. Like, I'll take like 2 to 3 trips to fill my jug up, and then I close my jug, and then I fill up at one more cup just so I can have more of it, and just like, And it's just, I get so nervous. I'm like, are they going to call me out for this shit? They're going to call me out? They don't. Luckily, they have not yet so far. But, yeah. Fuse, if you're looking to sponsor someone, sponsor us. Because I love Fuse raspberry tea. Because you can't get it anywhere else. Except for Subway and, I guess, McDonald's.
Hit us up, Fuse video at deadendroad.co. You know how to get in touch.
Yeah, right. I just had to get that off my chest because, like, I'm running low in my jug, and I just thought about it. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Gotta take a trip to Subway.
A little bit of business, and then we'll be out of your ear holes. Again, I didn't plan anything, so this is right off the dome. Let's see. I should have a few posts up on the site by the time this is live. I did a little dive into Google Stadia because I got a free one from their weird YouTube promotion. So I wrote about that experience. So that'll be up by the time this podcast is live, so check that out if you're curious about the weird world of Google video game streaming. I also have another book review that's up on the site. I reviewed a really bad horror novel that I could not really finish, with some questionable, probably racist Japanese people portrayal. So yeah, that was rough. So I also wrote about that. That's live on the site right now. And I'll have 2 more product reviews coming in the next couple days as well. I got like basically 2 tablet reviews. So those will be up. What else? Pathologic stuff's coming. I gotta edit the rest of those. But as you can see, I've been writing a lot. I guess that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, yeah. Follow us at DeadEndRoad on Twitter, DeadEndRoad TV on Facebook, DeadEndRoad TV on Instagram, Roger's Beige Sand everywhere. YouTube. YouTube is DeadEndRoad TV. You can find the podcast absolutely everywhere, but if you're listening to it, you probably could already figure that one out. Yeah, that's everything. All right,
guys.
We'll probably be back next week with maybe some prepared topics, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Depends on how the world goes.
Yeah. If it keeps on spinning, I guess, so will we.
Right. Well, until next time, guys.
All right. See ya.